Hello, my friends. Welcome to Magical Musings. I'm Never Kefri. I'm here with your energy reading for the month of July. For July, I am using the Calandra Tarot with artwork by Michael Calandra, book by Trish Sullivan. It is published, I forgot, yes, US Games. That's what I thought. Here's the booklet that comes with it. Every card comes with 3 to 4 keywords, a brief description of the imagery, and then an interpretation. It's really nicely written, and there are examples of how different ways you can use the 3-card spread, and there's also a spread developed specifically for this deck called the Self-Awareness Exploration Spread. Really nice. It's a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. So a lot of you who are into tarot, you're going to recognize a lot of the images here. I'm going to zoom in and I'll be tilting the cards so you don't see the glare. But these are just some examples. I am really enjoying this deck. There's a lot of purple in it, which is my favorite color. There's a lot of blues and pinks. That's my wheelhouse when it comes to colors. And I really love the imagery. Again, because it's a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, it's fairly easy to interpret. You can use standard card interpretations. And the imagery pretty much speaks volumes all on its own, even if you're not familiar with all the interpretations. You can kind of figure out what a lot of these cards mean, which I really like. I would consider this to be a great deck for beginners, and if you're interested in it, I do have an Amazon link to it below, and if you use that link, that is my Amazon affiliate link, and I make a few cents literally from that, and I would appreciate your support of my channel. I mean, I love the Two of Pentacles. It's such a cool card. So this just gives you a good overview of what the deck looks like and what I'm going to do now. Oh, first of all, before I do that, before I shuffle, I wanted to show you this deck does come with 2 extra cards. They come with an as above and an as below. And these are just basically like extra major arcana cards. I'm not using them in this reading because I don't like adding to the tarot. I feel the tarot is a huge system all on its own. Doesn't need any extra cards. That's just my opinion, of course. Don't mean to offend anyone, but that's just how I feel about it. Now, I'm going to be shuffling. I always shuffle live on camera so you can see my readings are never canned. They're always 100% legit. I do not refer to the guidebook. I've been reading tarot since 1976. I am self-taught, and I have my own system for interpreting the cards. So I will shuffle 5 times, cut the deck into thirds, and choose the reading for the month of July from the center pile. Here we go. This is a reading for the collective. And we will be looking at the blessing for the month of July, the challenge for the month of July, and guidance on how to deal with the challenge, or the challenging aspects of this month's energies. I lost count. I think that's 4. I'll say this is 5. And here we go. So I'll be choosing 2 cards for the blessing, 2 for the challenge, and 3 for the advice. And I'm doing it this way. Last time I did it, 3 cards per week, and I had several of you tell me you felt the reading ran too long. I'm like, okay. So here's a shorthand version of it. And again, I'll be holding these cards up to the light so you can see them better, zooming in, and I will tilt them so you won't see that glare from my ring light. Okay, we're looking at the blessings first. And this is really interesting. We get 2 court cards. We get the Queen of Pentacles and the Page of Swords. Isn't this just a gorgeous card? Oh my gosh, I love this card. And plus it's my significator card, so I'm partial to the Queen of Pentacles in card decks anyhow, but this one has got to be one of the most beautiful I've ever seen. And here she is holding the energy, and it's rising up from her hands, surrounding the pentacle, helping it to be elevated and to be suspended in midair. And I'm really, really focused on that. You know, when I read tarot, my eyes go to a certain part of the card, always. And I always stick to that part. I begin my interpretation with that part of the card and then branch outward, because this to me, it's telling me, it's when it grabs my eye like that, it's the most important symbol on the card right now for all of us. And the pentacle represents in the tarot the element earth. Earth rules over all of our physical well-being, our finances, our career, you know, the family, marriage, the home, health, all the material aspects of life. And this pentacle is surrounded by light. It's giving off more light. You see these little specks of light going off into the distance. Hopefully you can see that. And also the other symbol that really, really jumped out at me are all the roses. Roses, for many people, for most people, they're symbolic of love. When you have pink or red roses, that's love. You know, yellow means friendship. White is purity. The different color roses have different meanings. But the pink is love, and she even wears a garland of roses as a necklace, and she has roses in her hair. And what that is saying is this is the person or an energy, because again, reading for the collective, I can't say she's a specific person because I'm reading for so many people here. She's more of an energy, okay? And this energy that's coming in with July, it's very loving and it's very nurturing. And that's the energy of the Queen of Pentacles anyway. And the roses to me are just really saying that they represent blessings, they represent gifts, and they represent little surprises coming during the month that are going to be pleasant surprises, okay? So, and the pentacle here, all these little blessings that are coming in, they're going to benefit our material well-being greatly. So that's what I'm seeing for the Queen of Pentacles. This is a major blessing coming for all of us in the month of July. Now, the second card is the Page of Swords. And if you notice in the tarot, when you get figures on cards, this is why I really appreciate when artists fully illustrate the minor arcana and put figures on every card, because their postures toward one another, they add a whole other dimension to your reading. And I always look at that. And here we have the Queen. She's holding both of her hands out to the Page of Swords, and she's trying to give him this great gift, this wonderful energy. Meanwhile, he's kind of looking up at it. I mean, look at his eyes. You can kind of see he's directed up at the pentacle. But then he, by his stance, he has his entire back to her, and he holds his sword aloft like he's going to take a whack at it. And so what this is telling me is that with all this energy coming in this month, some people just aren't ready for it. And they're going to turn their back on it and say, no, not right now. And usually this happens when someone has been so mired in problems and struggles that when the good finally starts to flow, they pretty much can't believe it. So that's what this is. It's just saying a general attitude for a lot of people is going to be, I don't believe it. What's the catch here? What's written in the fine print, you know, type thing. But it comes from a place of unconditional love and support. And this is the universe giving all this great stuff to us, but there are some people that just are not going to see it, which is unfortunate. So that's the blessings coming in. And then we have the challenge. And this is really interesting because what we get here, we get 2 cards of the major arcana. The major arcana cards, they represent spiritual forces that enter our lives at any given time. And these energies come in order to help us to master important soul lessons. Sometimes these soul lessons are of a karmic nature and they can involve other people that we know. So we've got the Lovers here and we have the Chariot, which is interesting because in the Tarot deck, these are sequential cards. This is the 6th major arcana and this is the 7th. So what I'm getting from the Lovers traditionally, they represent choice, temptation, and attraction. And yes, it can involve a romantic couple. Sometimes it can represent choices that come to us in other areas of our lives. It can represent a business partnership or some other form of partnership. And here we have an angel behind them. And traditionally, this angel is always there on this card. And on this particular card, the angel has one hand gesturing toward a vine or a tree here that is fruit bearing. And here we have a serpent. So what's the implication here? It's Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And there's that old wily serpent and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that the serpent convinces Eve to eat from. And then Eve feeds the fruit to Adam. And they become self-aware. And because of that, they get cast out of the Garden of Eden. And so what it's saying here is the challenge is that, yes, we're going to have all these great blessings coming to us, you know, from this wonderful, beneficial energy right at the start of the month. But we're also going to be given a choice whether to accept the energy or not. And sometimes good things have bad timing. I know that sounds really strange and contradictory, but it's true. You know, it's happened in my own life, you know, where something great is going to happen. And then you're like, well, I've got all this other stuff going on. I've got all this other stuff I got to take care of first. So you can't fully enjoy the moment. And so it's a reminder here. We're all given that choice, whether or not we're going to go with the flow and enjoy the moment when it comes. That's part of the challenge. So there is going to be some other stuff going on, a little bit of conflicting energies here. Basically, it's just saying you're going to have to make some choices this month you may not really want to deal with right now. But once you do, it's going to clear the path. So all these blessings can be enjoyed. They can come through. They can positively benefit your life. But you got to deal with some stuff first. Get it out of the way. And then we have the Chariot. It's really funny. When I first looked at this card, I was like, what in the world? A UFO? But no, what it is, it's a canopy over his chariot. You can see the pole there that supports the canopy. But at first I thought it was a UFO. It goes to show you how my mind works. Anyway, the Chariot is all about perseverance, of moving forward despite the obstacles, of dealing with the situation, no matter how difficult it may be, having the faith that once it's dealt with, things are going to be better. Things are going to change. They're going to improve. And it's the merging of opposing forces. You see how you've got your white horse here and you've got a black horse. And they're both supposed to be pulling the charioteer forward, but they're veering off to opposite sides here. So the Chariot, even though it's supposed to be a card of speed, because the horses are pulling off in 2 different directions, the Chariot really isn't going anywhere. The charioteer is at a standstill, the way this particular card is depicted. And so what it's saying here is that a lot of us are feeling that there's these forces behind us that are kind of pushing us ahead, in a situation, kind of prodding us to move forward. But because we've got so many things going on right now, the energy is scattered. It's going off in different directions. And so your best bet here is basically the Council of the Lovers card. Remain in the moment and go with the flow. Don't fight against the current. Don't attempt to buck the system. Try to go with things as gently and peacefully as you can, and it's all going to work out because we've got all this great energy back here propelling us forward through the month. Okay, as far as the general advice goes, let me take a drink. My throat gets dry. All right. We have the Judgment card, the Nine of Swords, and the Page of Cups. Judgment is an interesting card, and what jumps out at me immediately, the roses from the Queen of Pentacles. There you go. So again, you know, it's here, Judgment, it's the raising of the dead. It represents, it's symbolic of coming to a major spiritual awakening. Experiencing a huge realization, a aha moment. And again, as with the Lovers card back here, we have another angelic figure on the Judgment card. And traditionally, this is supposed to depict the Archangel Gabriel, and there she is holding her horn there. And angels are unisex. And so Gabriel, although often depicted as a male, is also depicted as a woman, as she is here. And she holds a skull, a couple more in the background. There's some graves. There's a long departed individual rising up from his grave, and here's a more recently departed. He's not fully decomposed yet. And this is just saying that there are things buried within us that we need to bring to the surface in order to be fully open and receptive to all this positive energy trying to come in. It's a major shift in the energy. Now, I am no astrologer. I don't understand astrology. I read articles about it and stuff, and I follow astrologers and to see what they say about the monthly energies. And I haven't looked at anything yet for July, because I don't tend to look to like the first, second, or third of the month. But what I'm thinking here, and what I've been feeling personally, is that this shift has been going on for a while now, and it's really going to come into fruition in July and August of 2025, this year. And that's what this is. It's a major awakening. It's an awakening for many, many people who've been asleep, spiritually asleep, for most, if not all of their lives. And once these people begin to wake up, the energies of our planet are going to shift like they have never shifted before. And it will be for the better. My guides have been saying this now since the pandemic. And they've been telling me it's all going to culminate in 2025 in order to set the world up for what's going to come in 2027. 2027 is the big year, but it can't happen until the majority of human beings are fully spiritually awake, meaning they are aware of the presence of angels and spirit guides in their lives. They're aware that they are, by their own nature, intuitive beings, and therefore have their own innate psychic abilities. And those abilities are going to start to awaken. And probably one of the first areas you're going to see this happening, and it's going to be in your dream life. Dreams can become much more vivid. They can convey messages. So perhaps your dreams have begun to take on some sort of a messenger capacity in your life. And you're like, oh, wow, I dreamt such and such and such and such. And to me, that means this, you know. look at your dreams in that way. Write them down. Keep a dream journal, because I'm telling you, there's a wealth of information in your dreams. You just don't realize it. And then if you don't write them down quick enough, you forget them. And now we have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is the card of worry and anxiety, having a difficult time sleeping. These are the people who remain asleep. What's really interesting to me is that you can't really tell in this card, but she's on a bed and there's the headboard behind her here and her pillows and cushions. In other cards, this woman on the bed is depicted in profile. So you see her in profile, you see the bed in profile, and it's very clear she is sleeping under a blanket. The blanket is usually covered by astrological signs, signs of the zodiac. And we have them here. You can see them. So like I said, these are the people who are sleeping. So the reason they're worried, the reason they're anxious and fearful is because they're spiritually asleep. They don't realize there's all this wonderful universal energy around us and that it's at our beck and call. We just have to learn to tap into it. And once you do that, there won't be a reason to fear, to worry, or to be anxious, because you know the higher powers are going to take care of everything. They are taking care of everything. And we're all in the best hands possible because of that. Okay, the final card in the advice section is the Page of Cups. Another gorgeous card. I just love this deck. And the Page of Cups, she represents creativity, healing, especially when it comes to the emotions, and she represents emotional self-expression and the importance of it. A lot of us have buried a good portion of our emotions because we think if I give voice to these emotions, it's going to upset the people around us. But what you don't realize when you bury your emotions within, the person you're hurting the most is yourself, because you're locking all of that stuff inside where it can fester. It can turn into resentment. It can become anger. It's beneficial to you to let this out in a diplomatic manner. Get it over with. That's part of the advice here for the month of July. And you know, the Page of Cups, she's holding out her cup there. There's a fish in it. The fish is often within the cup in the Page of Cups. Fish in many cultures represent plenty and abundance. And it's just saying, if you focus on your emotional self-expression, again, it's going to open doors. It's going to open doors of opportunity and doors of blessings. But you have to walk the fine line between the choice to keep it hidden or the choice to express your emotions in a diplomatic manner, especially if someone has hurt you and you are still connected to that person. So the time has come for a heart-to-heart. That's part of the advice here for the month of July. So this is what I see for July. Again, this is with the Calandra Tarot by Michael Calandra, and it's on Amazon. There's a link below if you'd like to order it. And I also have a spiritual online membership. It started over on Patreon. I've moved it into a Facebook group because a lot of people just couldn't stand to have another app on their phone. I can totally relate. Mine's about to explode any day now. And so if you'd like to join that, the link is below. And I thank you all so much for being here. It's a real pleasure. And this is Neferkefri of Magical Musings, wishing you all a blessed month ahead.